Hello, friend, and thank you for joining us here at AFTERBUZZ TV to talk about Mr. Robot Season 2, Episode 7, Handshake. We're going to talk about Joanna. We're going to talk about Elliot. We're going to talk about Angela. We're going to talk about Mr. Robot. We're also going to have a twist ending where we're going to reveal we were the Verge the whole time. What? Stick with us.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Yeah.
The band is all here.
We got it for the first time.
I know, this is like
First
epic.
time we've
This
had
is
everyone
epic.
here. For the very first time, do not count how many episodes it's been. We are here for the Mr. Robot After Show here at AFTERBUZZ TV.
Yeah.
I want to jump right into it, so I'm just going to let you know where you can find me. I'm at Steve Kaufmann. You can find me on Twitter at Steve Kaufmann. That is Kaufmann.
And I'm Taylor Boldt. You can find me on Twitter at Tayboldt. That's Tayboldt. And on Instagram at Tboldt. Also Boldt.
Taybolt?
What? Hey, what's up, guys? Ashley. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Ashley_Chatman. Let's talk about it.
All right, and what is up? A shout out to the chat roll. If you guys are watching this live, send us all your comments. We're going to throw them in the show. If we don't have enough voices, throw yours in as well. I'm
Please.
JC Rubio. Find me on JC Rubio TV on Instagram, Twitter, all across the board. And let's start talking.
Yeah, I need that Cantenna from the episode because the Wi-Fi trying to hook up so I can get all up on this chat.
Right.
Let's talk about Joanna, Tyrell, the package, the blood.
I'm glad that
The
we
opening.
started. I'm glad that we started with this because I was kind of hurting last week. We didn't get any Joanna at all. I was like, what's
Where
going? You know what I'm
was it hurting?
saying?
Me
Like, what's
too.
going on over there?
Oh, we got her on the front page of a magazine briefly.
Yeah, I don't really count that. You know, I need some
You
story.
need some actual Joanna.
Yeah,
So
we got a lot. I feel
we
like
got a lot. We know
this
what's in the
episode.
box.
Yeah.
It's an ultrasound picture.
Yeah.
Do we know what that means?
Of course not.
No, very cryptic.
little cryptic.
To be
yeah.
expected.
Does that mean I appreciate and love? Does that somehow mean I'm Tyrell Wellick, I'm alive, and this baby is the only thing that's keeping me alive? Or does it say the exact opposite? I'm Tyrell. I'm actually Elliot. Tyrell Wellick is dead, and your baby's next.
I don't know
like
about
a threat.
Tyrell being dead. We're going to get there.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
get
we're
there.
gonna
We'll
get
get
to
there.
it.
We'll get
I'm not
there.
convinced.
No, but
No one is
that seems-
convinced.
Yeah, that seems a little easy.
to me, it's almost ships crossing. She seems like she's severing the relationship. She's done. She's out. That's why even on the tease when you open the show, she said, "I no longer want to be with you."
Yeah.
She took all those steps.
She said, "I no longer want to be married to you, to a man like you."
Yeah.
So
something
something.
like that.
I no
Something
longer
else.
want to be married.
Okay.
Yeah, which I didn't notice the first time around, but I feel like my investigative eye has gotten a little bit more honed.
No,
Okay.
that's
That's
the
good.
important.
Yeah,
That's the
it's like,
important
oh.
part.
You know, I thought, okay, so I thought it was interesting that, you know, the scene that we had, so we initially thought it was kind of a fake out. He kind of comes downstairs. It's a flashback scene. So I thought it was interesting with the earrings, that was the scene that sort of connected her back to the present, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, we have the scene with the blood. But I just thought it was interesting that of all the flashbacks for her to have and for them to show, that would be the one that they would choose and kind of go with. So I was just trying to figure out, like, what was the real connection there? Was it to show something about Tyrell? Was it to say something about Joanna? Or what did you pick up on that? Or what did you
Yes,
pick
there's
Yeah.
it was the tie-in to Derek because they met at that E-Corp party. He said that later on in
Yeah.
the episode.
Oh, okay.
So that was that tie-in, I believe, because it was stressed about Tyrell always buying her presents. He's really good at gift giving.
But he's
Yeah.
not good at giving her what she needs emotionally, which is
You
what
mean,
Derek
Right.
you mean being present? What?
Ooh, it's all love languages, people.
Dr.
It's
Phil.
all.
dropped the mic.
Out.
You know what? I feel like a Godiva chocolate amongst a bunch of cow patties. Dr. Phil. Okay, moving on.
You know what?
You know, it took me a second to
Alright.
even realize that scene was a flashback because I thought it was like
Yeah,
a
same
fantasy.
here. Yeah, it
which
was a
is
fake
just
out.
speaks to
I
the
mean,
show that it
this
still
show.
does that to me, where I'm just like,
This
is
show, it
this
can
might
be whatever
real.
you want it to be.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. So, what do we think the blood was about? Do we think it was just a basic? She was wearing fur of some type, or that she represented the bourgeoisie, that like the anarchy is going after right
I
now.
think it's more the latter. I think
Yeah,
that it's because I didn't see any fur, because that's the first thing I looked for.
No, she wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She wasn't. So like, it makes more sense that it was just you're some rich lady in the Upper
Yeah.
West Side. I'm gonna
Yeah.
throw blood on you.
Right. Which is,
just as sheeple as anything else. To
Which
be
is-
honest.
you know,
Which
an
really
inconvenience, to
makes
say the
me
least.
wonder, because even though I like the fact that they're kind of showing this new relationship dynamic between her and Derek, I'm not entirely sure if they're showing it to us for the reasons that we think. Like, I don't feel like traditional love stories really work in this show. So if there's a relationship dynamic between her, if they're actually putting them on screen and giving them that screen time, I'm just having a hard time coping with, okay, she's finding love and she's going to divorce Tyrell and then they're going to be happy and kind of move on with their marital lives.
Yeah.
So, you know, just trying to like really dissect and sort of think about, you know, why is this important? Like, why are we really spending time focusing on this? Because it's not just simply because Tyrell's gone and I feel like I can be an independent, liberated woman who makes my own decisions. It's deeper than that, for sure.
What I will say, I don't think Tyrell is gone, because I don't think that Joanna would be as central a character as she was in this episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like there's still like
Of
more
course,
story.
there's lingering stuff there.
There for sure. And I think that she's the kind of person that has a master plan. You know,
Yeah.
I think that she's probably has the biggest scheme of anyone in the show.
Well, let me add to that. On the chat roll, let's see, Joanna is working along Khan, and that's from PC. I kind of agree, because even in the open of the show, you hear Joanna telling Derek he can't give her what she needs as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot left to be told still. And Sam Esmail said himself that she's Lady Macbeth in this whole thing.
I like this.
Well, also, the thing is that I'm still trying to figure out is, not to get too far ahead of ourselves here, but if Elliot / Mr. Robot really did shoot Tyrell with the gun that he found in the popcorn, how did he wake up in the SUV with the parking attendant that Joanna has paid off?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
She's
there's-
involved.
Yeah, she's got it.
She
There's more
isn't-
to this. We have not.
Within the what I believe we know to be at least a missing 5 to 7 hours.
Yeah.
I feel like we just about know Joanna was involved.
She has
And
to
like
be.
the way she looked at him puzzlingly at the season finale of season 1, of like, you've never, like, it was a face of like, you've really never spoken to me before. Like, you really don't think you've spoken to me. Like, I think they've interacted.
I think they've
Interesting.
interacted, but I don't think that she knows where Tyrell. I honestly think she doesn't know where Tyrell is.
I agree,
and I don't
too.
think that she is in cahoots with him in anything that's going on. I actually think, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, but I do think Tyrell is still alive, but I don't think that he's in a situation where he can really communicate with a lot of people. So,
Right.
yeah.
I feel like there will be a lot of Joanna in the predictions. I
Yeah.
think we need to just
Joanna.
jump on into Elliot. We're going to
do
talk
it.
about Elliot in the world we knew before the end of this episode, where he was working with Ray to migrate Midland City, the website.
Yeah.
To migrate Midland City, the website, to and like the dark side of his brain, or the curious part of Elliot's brain
Yeah.
that allows him to not let bad people do bad things on his internet.
Yeah, and I still
Sorry,
have
the internet.
the internet,
No,
but
his
his
internet.
internet. You
Yeah.
know, I
Is it-
think
but like
there's
to a certain extent, his ideal of the
Yeah,
internet.
well, just part of the. I think part of the culture of all of it is that you feel possessive of the. You know, I think that's something that's safe to say. Like, you know,
His
as
internet,
part of
like-
like hacker culture in general is that
Or
you,
just like tech culture in general.
Yeah,
Although
any
I guess
tech
you could
culture,
call
it's-
Snowden. You would call Snowden a hacker too, but like that was always made clear whenever you hear an interview with Edward Snowden. Is like like
Yeah.
I grew up in a time where like the internet was so democratized of information and
Yeah.
discussion
right.
that like to see people go after it and destroy it
Yeah.
and like make it a place for bad things.
Right.
Let's wait till the very end to discuss whether we think Midland City was an actual website. I
feel
think
like
we
we
all have a theory on it,
yeah.
but let's talk about it as it
I
existed.
do have a
Comes
theory.
together.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it as it existed. That it was essentially only had Tor access. Tor is a VPN browser that you can only.
So so there's a VPN and then there's Tor.
Okay.
So a VPN they're like two separate things, but they do a similar thing. So a VPN is like, I'm going to look at something, I'm gonna browse for something, but
Yeah.
I'm routing myself to a specific server owned
Got
by
it.
like a company or someone else that can set it up. So it'll be like I go through this place in Switzerland and then access so that the
connected.
website goes to Switzerland and then to me.
Got
Yeah.
it.
So a Tor Tor browsing, for what I understand, it's like the Onion router thing, is it does kind of that, but a ton of times, really randomly.
For everyone.
And the idea is that at least one time it passes through a hub in a country that does not have to give away any sort of documents. Does that make sense?
No, that makes complete
So that
sense.
it becomes untraceable, because if you start to trace it, you'll just have to keep tracing it
Because
so far.
eventually you'll trace it to Sweden or Switzerland, where they
I don't know
know
if Switzerland's one, but like Azerbaijan,
Yeah,
like there's
like
like some country,
a country
where it's
without
like,
an extradition or without
Exactly.
proper documentation or without
and then it dies
out
because
of
they
the
can't.
EU or anything like that. Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I did not quite know what Tor was. I
So-
thought it was the same as VPN.
There's Tor stands for the Onion router.
Okay.
My understanding, which is just like the Onion thing is like the layers. So this was good. I feel like this is a good little,
not the
yeah.
comedy
Taylor's
website.
really, really knowledgeable.
I looked up
about
some of this stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Not the router
Yeah,
at the
did
comedy
research.
website.
Yeah. He
Who
did
do
some
we have
extensive
engineering in the
research.
back?
Yeah.
Give us like that more you know kind of little jingle. The more you know.
We'll get there.
We can cue it up. We can cue it up.
We'll get there.
It was good.
So,
So-
it was on a tour.
Oh, thank you.
You're not happy with the way you look
There we
on
go.
the outside. Maybe you're not looking closely enough on the inside. Because the only thing that
But-
matters
but
is who
we-
we are
it'll-
in here.
Thank you, Booth.
Okay.
That was kind of emotional.
Thank you. That was emotional. I
weird.
am
All right.
somebody. Thank you.
thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
So what happened is the site was, and I know there's sites like this where you have to be using a specific browser to even access it, and it's usually the Onion
Of course.
router. So it's like the specific, because there's an Onion browser that's like, it's like Chrome, Firefox,
Yep.
this thing. So he took it and in the migration, I guess, just made it so you could just
made it so you
So
could
that anybody
so you
could
can look
access.
at it on Firefox or Chrome or whatever.
And then that brought it up on FBI's
That'll
radar,
brought it up
so-
on the FBI's within a week. Why do we think Ray let him do this? 'Cause it was
That's
clear
my
migration.
question.
Yes,
That's
yes,
my
yes.
question.
So I think that, because at first I was like, okay, he's totally bullshitting him with this whole story about his wife and that whole thing. But I actually kind of believe him. I think that, because if we're going to believe now that in this reality, like maybe Ray was a warden or a counselor, or
Yes.
somebody who worked at the prison, you know, a guy who probably started off with like cool intentions, and then when his wife passed away, you know, it just kind of turned him for the worst. And once he had a hold of this, you know, he was probably making a whole bunch of money from it. It just became an animal that he probably lost control of, and he just turned into this person who felt like he needed to do it because with his wife gone, you know, maybe he felt like he didn't have as much purpose. But I think ultimately his conscience, I think that's what allowed him to let Elliot do it. I think he realized like, okay, what we've been doing to this guy is wrong. And I think in a second, he kind of allowed Elliot to let him in.
So you don't believe him saying he had his head buried in the sand? He was just
That he never looked.
yeah.
I think that maybe he never, but he knew what was on there. Like
I
he
think
didn't.
it was bad. I think
Yeah,
he knew it was
He
bad.
definitely knew it was
But I
bad.
don't know if he knew how bad.
But I think that maybe yes. I think it is possible because when you don't know, you know, like ignorance is bliss. So I think that helped to resolve him of any guilt or just resolve him of like really feeling the weight of what he was doing, you know, because it was horrible what was going on in those sites, but he still needed to make that money. So if I don't look, if I don't see it, then it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So
I got to be honest. It felt too easy. You know what I mean? Which makes me like not really trust it. Like it seemed like I was like, how is Elliot gonna get out of this?
Yeah.
Right.
And then he just did, and
Yeah.
it seemed like. I mean, I think what Ray was trying to explain is that he didn't look, and then when for whatever reason when Elliot looked, he decided to look, and then when he looked and realized how bad it was, he was saying like he basically just let him do it. But I don't know. It still seems kind of easy.
But there were a lot of players involved at this point. You know, you had people on the
Yeah.
site. You had a lot of the prisoners we find out that are on the site. Like you had a lot of users. So once he found out, it couldn't have. I don't think it could have been a situation where he could have just been like, okay, I'm shutting down the site. I'm closing it.
Sure.
That's it. You know, he kind of. I think it was in a way he allowed Elliot to give him an out.
And
you
I
know?
think
Yeah, but-
sometimes people in life use what I like to call an arbitrary decider,
Yeah.
which is similar to like if you were two.
I want to hear this theory. Yeah.
If you were two siblings and one of you wanted to sit in the seat with your father or mother,
Yeah.
the father and mother would eventually have to just decide who gets to sit in the front seat or if no one gets to sit in the front seat. I consider that an arbitrary decider, which is neither of you got to make that decision, therefore it's fair to both of you. And you can do that within your own head of a confliction of I really want to go to Carl's Jr. and it's on the left here. If I still hit this green light and I can make this left, I'm going to Carl's Jr.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, that's an arbitrary decider.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So Elliot is just his arbitrary.
Yeah,
decider.
that Elliot is. I'll get this dude, and if this dude
doesn't
look,
It's like a
this dude
coin
doesn't
flip
look,
sort of thing. Like if it's heads, I'll.
if this dude doesn't look, then my website stays up.
What do you
We
think
did
this
beat him
says?
to a pulp.
Well, I mean,
Well, on a bigger sense, do you think it's Esma was talking about maybe the possibility of the pitfalls of a free market system, of a truly free market? Like, it seems like we're moving more towards like anarchy in the show. You know, and I saw a few
Which
sprinkles.
I like the blood throwing thing, because that's what we were talking about. I think one or two episodes ago where we were like, I want to see more about like how this has
we
affected the
keep
world.
hearing that, and like we saw that in the Angela Cab ride, and then like there was actually a very decent amount of exposition about it, how like they're burning trash because you can't, the private industries can't afford the trash people,
And we hear about E-Corps,
the E-coin.
thing.
We got an official confirmation that it was essentially a Bitcoin for E-Corp.
Yeah.
A lot of references to digital currency. It seems the cool thing, it seems like in the context of the world, one of the cool things I think is that it has legitimized digital currency in a very real way, because all of a sudden the traditional banking systems have collapsed. So it's like the digital currency is almost safer, which I think is an interesting irony, because I read something that like $72 million or something like that in digital currency was just stolen like this past month.
That's
Well, of course, that's
from like some like Hong Kong.
That's right, because Bitcoin
Bank.
Yeah.
some
well.
sort
The
of
argument
thing,
is that that's still safer. And
It's
if you
true,
look at
then,
it- and like
sure.
I was on a lot of those threads in the Bitcoin day, like the earlier Bitcoin days, back when Greece was having all the stuff that Greece was doing, where there was talk of if Greece left the EU and adopted Bitcoin as a national currency,
Interesting.
that Bitcoin would be by default an actual currency, like by default a more standard currency. And people were talking a lot about that, and I think that's what Price wants.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I would.
He wants America. He wants
his
the
best
American
hand.
dollar to fail. He wants the American dollar to fail, and he wants to
control
come in
the
with,
new dollar.
Come in with his own currency.
Smart.
Fans are
That's
even saying
wily.
that. We have Dimitri saying it's heading towards short-term anarchy. I wonder if this show will portray one world currency later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're,
Ooh. Okay, we need to talk more about Elliot and Ray, the one world currency.
A lot of tangents. This is a lot of really cool stuff. This episode.
What is the name of the gentleman at the Bible study who had a group that tried to attack Elliot?
Were we given his name?
I
Oh,
believe
yeah,
we had his name briefly. Because I remember his face from the very first episode, and I was like,
he
I've
was
seen
from
this
the
actor in
Bible
more than
study.
one thing. He's
Yeah.
coming back.
you did bring that up. He's the one that spoke. He had that story before Elliot gave his fuck religion
Yes.
speech.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember the character's name, but
chat if you chat
Yeah.
if by people in the
Call it
chat
out
if
in
you
the
can
chat,
help
but
us out.
His whole story was like that he
had
did
money
something
and-
horribly racist, and then was like, but God forgave me. Right. That was like his whole thing. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Which is
Got it.
which is the kind of person who would be on this website.
Of
Sure.
course.
In the universe we are dealing with right now that this website exists.
I just.
We'll get there. We'll
I
get
know,
there.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
We have to drop the hammer all at once. Leon kills a bunch of people.
Dang, does he?
Yes. Joey badass.
Yeah.
Was a badass.
And then said, "Tell White Rose I was good to you."
Yeah.
What do we think Leon's into?
Swordplay.
Also,
Yeah,
it
he's
finally.
like a ninja or something.
Also, not to get too far into the reveal, but this finally helps explain why Leon was watching Seinfeld in 2015.
Yeah.
Because that's a syndicated show that you would watch.
Well, here's
Oh, yeah.
You would
'cause
watch
it's
you would
something-
watch 5-6 days a week on a local channel that you would probably get in prison.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just something that was accessible.
Well, here's another little tip of the cap. Remember, you have to pay attention to everything on the show.
Yep.
With Leon, and I believe it was on Reddit that they posted the picture. On episode 2, they had Leon, and he's talking to Elliot, and you see a tattoo, a Chinese tattoo of the year of the dragon. And yeah, and people kind of making that correlation perhaps is a little
He's
Yeah,
part
a
of
little tit
So that
towards
he's part of the Dark Army, or
Yeah.
he's connected to the Dark Army.
Which makes me still think that Elliot or Mr. Robot is connected to White Rose, and that a part of him going into prison was sort of a way to, I guess, get him out of the fire while this whole hack thing.
I
goes
just want to
down.
know what I want to know why he went to prison. Like,
Well,
I wanna
a
know
lot of
what the
people, I think
backstory
on
is.
Reddit, a lot of theories are that he turned himself in
Sure.
with the Krista hacking the boyfriend
Mm.
as a way to try and deal with Mr. Robot, and or this was something that he and White Rose had orchestrated.
Or
Because
Krista could have turned him in, I guess, too, right?
yeah, but I think it
for
probably
that
is
hack,
more
right? 'Cause she found out about that hack.
true.
Lay
But
off
I
it a
think,
little.
but I
Maybe.
think,
Who knows?
I think it would make more sense for her visiting him. She feels maybe guilty about the whole thing because if you were really angry with someone enough to send them to jail, I don't know if I'd be there every single week or however often she visited to also give him sessions and provide. You know what I mean?
I didn't get
dog
the
is the key
impression
to this.
Was she there to give him a session, or
Well,
was she just?
it wasn't a legitimate session,
Yeah,
but
like she
did offer her
She
advice.
offered one, and she said once you get out of here, which implied that whatever he did wasn't any of the serious stuff that we know he was involved in. The dog is the key here. The dog was chipped.
right.
He brought the dog to the vet. They scanned the chip at the vet. I've been saying this for a long time. I thought they were gonna drop it, but like nothing ever gets dropped in this show.
Yeah.
The chip that had what was on the chip again?
The chip
Yeah.
that had
chip inside
the
the dog.
owner's information.
That had all the what?
The owners, because remember
Had
he took
Lenny's
the dog
information.
from
Yeah.
Lenny, yeah.
So
Okay.
you take a dog to a
So-
vet, they scan the chip, they still treat the dog, they still let you go away, but they keep track of who you were.
Is that too
And-
easy though?
Yeah, and then how would they connect that
but it's the
he did
correctly
anything
easy.
criminal?
It's the correct. The reason I say this is because Lenny said himself at the end of season 1, I don't have enough information to put him away.
Way,
Yep.
yeah.
Meaning he needed the dog.
But
Or-
well, how would the
actually,
dog
no, he
connect
had
them?
the dog. He needed something Krista could give him.
That okay, that makes
and
more
she
sense.
wouldn't give it to him. Remember, she denied him.
Yeah,
So,
I still think that's probably what it is.
yeah.
I
It
feel
has
like
to
that's
do
probably
with
what
it. It might be
that
something
seems
to do
like
with
the
the
leading
boyfriend.
thing.
Yeah.
It's likely a part of a grander plan that hasn't been revealed to us
Of
yet.
course.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Elliot knew what he was doing when he
Yeah.
took the dog to the vet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could actually see that
that
going
makes
either way
sense.
because I kind of like the idea that like the mastermind hacker, like his just some small, because that's how you would be found out anyways. It's just some small thing that you overlooked. You know what I mean? Just some tiny thing that was so minuscule that it just slipped your mind to even be concerned
that's
with
what
it.
brings you down.
But I also can. I kind of think that Elliot
I
did
see
it
both
intentionally.
sides.
Yeah.
Like the careful massacre of the bourgeoisie. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something as simple as that.
I think he tried to make it seem as if he didn't have any control, but he probably had all the control in the world. He knew exactly what he was doing. He knew he needed to shut his mind down, and then he came to himself.
I gotta.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you catch that from Johnny Robot?
Yeah, I'm seeing that
inhale.
Johnny Robot in the chat now that
That the dog also ate one of the chips Elliot was going to destroy.
Oh, I remember
the
that.
dog literally has information.
I remember that.
We'll back off it.
Yeah.
We're gonna come back to
We'll
prison.
come back.
Or sorry, we're gonna come back to
To-
Elliot and Ray.
But
Yes.
we don't think it's because of it has nothing to do with the hack. Has nothing to do with Tyrell.
It can't be anything serious.
Yeah.
Or
It
there
can't,
would-
it can't be that serious.
Otherwise,
It has to
that
be
would have been all
small.
over the news. Okay.
Yeah.
because it's been all over the news that Tyrell
Is missing,
Tyrell
and
is missing
he's
and
wanted.
presumed the orchestrator of the hack.
Yeah.
So for Elliot to go down for any of it, he would have been at the very least a known informant, and his name would have come up in any of
Right.
that exposition. We've been
I also think that he would be held in some very tight prison, or at
Yeah,
least
I think
we
they
would
would
see
keep-
interrogations with the FBI.
Yeah, there would be
more
something
more
like
stuff
that.
would be going on if he.
Yeah, he wouldn't be left alone in prison.
Yeah, he wouldn't
Yeah.
just be like just a common sort of inmate.
Yeah.
I feel like he would be like threat to national security.
Angela.
He definitely wouldn't be near a computer.
Angela, Dom, we had this showdown,
Mm-hmm.
which I think we all kind of felt wasn't gonna be like the knockdown, drag him out, Dom takes her away in cuffs showdown.
Yeah.
I'm very happy that it was exactly that, of just Angela, like this verbal chess, this verbal joust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That Angela eventually kind of came out a little on top until Dom said like, nope, we're subpoenaing everybody.
Yeah.
Or not subpoenaing,
We're just gonna bring people in for
we're
questioning.
interviewing everybody, especially you, because you worked at Allsafe right before Allsafe. You left Allsafe right before 5/9, and now you're here.
Dom is sharp.
Yeah.
My biggest takeaway was the last line from Dom. it's not you. She
Yeah.
saw through the programming in a sense, and it to me was slightly reminiscent to last season episode 4 when Elliot, when he was in the dream sequence and Angela told him, you were just born a month ago. And it's kind of what Angela's done this season with her affirmations and this steely, reprogrammed Angela.
Yeah.
And Dom sees right through it.
Of course.
I enjoyed that too.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of that whole exchange, which was incredible. I was okay. Personal story. We were watching it, my girlfriend and I, and the tension that Esma put in that scene as they're zeroing in on Angela.
Yep.
And she's crushing my hand. I'm just tension. I loved it.
It was a great
was
scene.
great.
It was a great scene because, of course, you know, in those typical moments in TV shows, you can sort of read on the person's face, like, oh shit, I'm caught. And, you know, you can see the nervousness, but she, even though you could tell inside that she was like shitting bricks, she had Darlene on the earpiece and she played it cool, you know, like just as sly and, oh yeah, I'd be happy to come anytime. You know, it was just like such great, you know,
She is
female
so
interaction, like
stoic.
just how they can be very sly and they were speaking a whole different language to each other, but they were, you know, it was.
I love scenes like that where there's an entire subtext.
Yeah, absolutely.
scene,
A lot
like,
of subtext.
There's literally a completely different scene happening without any words.
Yeah.
Of like, I know you're full of it. Mm-hmm. I know.
Exactly.
And what's being said is just like, I
know.
don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I know.
You don't know.
No idea.
I don't know. No, I'm dating
so
a guy on that
interesting.
floor.
Yeah.
What a happy accident for her too, right?
I also there were a bunch of theories on Reddit, or at least like people on Reddit saying Angela could have gotten out of all of this by claiming the bathroom on that floor is the nicest bathroom in the whole building.
Oh sure, yeah.
For those of us who work in buildings,
Uh-huh.
I can attest to you could just be like, restricted or not, that's where I go.
Girl code.
Yeah,
Sure.
restricted or not, I go to that toilet.
I still
always the
think it would
simple
have
things,
been,
right? It's
but
always-
but I think Dom is still.
Well, Dom would have been like, well,
she
why
still
would
would
you
have been
have-
like, okay.
She wouldn't have
that's-
believed her. It didn't matter.
Dom would have
what
been
she
like, well,
said.
why haven't you been there the last like 3 weeks?
Right. And she actually caught her, like on the. She just caught her on the floor, right? She didn't catch her. If I
So
remember.
if you remember, she like kind of walks out and then sees like 3 people talking,
Yeah,
and then
yeah, okay.
and then starts walking down the stairs. I think Dom was one of the 3 people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Got
she
it, got
was.
it, Okay.
Because she like starts walking towards her and then turns around. I would be suspicious of that if I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Who is that person?" Oh, they just started walking away from me. Cool.
Juan Chavez in the chat says, "I love that when Dom realized the FBI is hacked, she
Hacks,
she immediately blamed Angela, because Dom is just that's. I love the idea that like there's an entire FBI that doesn't know what's happening, and then
Keystone Cops.
there's Dom.
Who else
that's
but
what's-
Dom? Yeah.
Is that fair though?
That's incredibly fair.
She's just. I think she's just like. She's the kind of person that thinks that everything there's a reason for everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there is no coincidence. Like
Yeah.
you didn't just happen to be there. You know what I mean?
And you didn't just happen to be a part of All Safe, and it just didn't happen. You didn't happen to leave and go to E Corp. You
Yeah.
know, right before. Yeah, she's very instinctual, which is.
She's
it's a
also
good
gotten
quality.
lucky. I mean, like how
Yeah.
she found F Society. Like that was
Yeah,
that was some
and how
luck
Dark
too.
Army let her go.
but I think it's also instinct
I
that
think they
leads
let
her
her
to
go.
certain places.
I think that's
they
part
let
of
her
the
go on
plan too,
purpose,
but
yeah.
that's still.
We'll find out the second half of the season.
But yeah, very, very
Let's
interesting.
talk about Angela and Price, and so I think I can admit that they literally got me. That when Price said that's not what I thought, I believed Price at face value. So that when Angela saw through Price and was like, no, that's the soft target, and just went after it and got the class action closed,
Yeah,
it was actually rather impressive.
yeah,
Because I thought for once she thought she had a she had a
Leg up.
thumb on Price.
yeah.
And realized that she didn't, when really, no, she did. He just really tried to bluff her off one last time.
So if you're Price, I mean, does she just have him fooled? Because why would you let her go to the risk?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you put her there?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter what she just did for the company. Like, it seems like you just wouldn't do that, period. You know, because it seems so clear, like, she just did something really good. Even he says, you know, you're really going to waste the capital on this. She should want to move up the
She
chain.
could be an executive.
If
She could be a mid-level executive for what she
If that's what
accomplished.
she wants, if she wants to rise in the company, then that's what she should have led with. It's clear when she asks to move to this place, the risk management, whatever it's called, risk assessment, risk management, whatever it is, that that she's driven by her emotions, that she's probably, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's more to it than that.
But she even said it, that when Terry Colby hired me, I'd like to make changes from within. I think she's playing a very clear bluff. She's playing a very clear semi-bluff with Price, which is, I've been, like, my whole life, I've been affected by what happened in risk management.
Yeah.
That if I could make it to risk management, I can do what I did in this class action, which is do a better thing.
Well, but is she playing her hand too early by being so...
No, because it's a semi-bluff. Because we learned that's not her plan. Her plan is to get access to files she shouldn't have access to, so she can then feed it into other people as a mole.
That's what I'm saying. But
it's too early.
Yeah, like she was like, she forced her way into a meeting and asked it point blank right away. And she kind of just gave herself away, didn't she?
So that leads me to believe that there's something else.
Yeah.
It has to be, because why would you? She keeps making that same mistake over and over, showing her hand too early, and I don't believe that she's like that. But no, it's
still a semi-bluff. Because I think, does Price see through her? I think Price knows that. I think Price honestly thinks that's her hand.
No, I think so. I think from day one, I think just like Dom, Price is very good with reading people, and he's really good at reading people's motivations. And I think he knew bringing her in, from her personality, I think he could kind of gauge where she was going to go. So I think of course there is a master plan, whether or not the whole contingency and closing the class action suit was really what he wanted, or he just wanted to allow her to think that she had a leg up on him with that whole situation in order for her. So I don't know what the end game is, but I don't think that Angela has pulled the wool over his eyes quite yet. I think that it's all strategic, and he's leading her into a specific place that's going to blow up in her face. That's my
because
so you think that he really has the upper hand then?
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
Okay.
I think that he doesn't have the upper hand in other areas, but in situations like this, and thinking back at all their interactions where he said really just weird things, or just stuff has come out and he's shared. I think it was all just him trying to gauge where she is and what she's going to do.
And I want to tell you something. I thought the same too. I even tweeted that yesterday. I said my prediction for last night's episode was the fall, or getting close to the fall of Price. And actually, Who is Mr. Robot tweeted me back with a GIF saying it's all about the long con. And they played it over and over, and I was like, okay, so he's not out yet, because next week's title led me to believe that as well too, and we'll get into that later.
And it's GIF, but whatever.
It's GIF. I found out 2 weeks.
Jiffy.
So the person who created it says GIF. I think that it should be GIF because it's graphic. It stands for graphic. But it's GIF. The creator says GIF.
But I think it's just because
the creator's wrong.
He needed 3 words for a Webby, and he thought he could control the world.
He's
I
an
think it's
unreliable
GIF.
narrator.
I think it should be GIF.
I think it is GIF.
Okay.
Welcome to Mr. Robot After Show.
Okay, but
we discuss GIF.
We've
covered a lot
real
today.
Issues here.
And Tor and...
Peanut butter aside, GIFs aside. Okay. The bigger point is, okay, who is she with the secret evil agenda by Price? Is it Dark Army? Is he protecting the Colton mines? Is he protecting that warehouse that White Rose brought up 2 weeks ago, like 2 episodes ago? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
By the removal of that contingency. That's what I don't understand. And you guys, of course, I noticed the silly stuff. The painting.
Yeah.
Some people said it was Titanic, but actually, one of our fans said
the humorists. We're talking. Oh no, sorry.
The painting
with Price and Angela.
Yeah.
Actually, I believe the fan's name was Susan, and she said it was showing Price underwater.
Yeah.
Because last week he was just about to go underwater, and this week the painting he was under the water.
And we even got this moment that he's lonely. That it's like, today's my birthday. Don't worry. Like I keep my birthday to myself.
Yeah.
Would you like to go and celebrate? And she's like, no.
Yeah.
I loved that scene.
Well, but there's also been this like creepy
tension between the two of them.
But like a creepy, almost sexual tension.
No,
or
not almost is very.
Well,
but
yeah.
like a one-sided sexual tension.
Yeah.
I would say.
Let the girl tell us. Okay, what do we?
Oh yeah, that's definitely sexual.
Well, but I mean, even when she, because when she was going to go to that date, she was saying affirmations like, "You are desirable.
Yeah.
You are," before she went on the date that ended up being, with the 2 other executives there.
And then with the other executive, who ended the meeting, adjourned the meeting, and he was like, you want to know what Price told me? He said that I basically can do whatever I want with you. So I think that I think it's a mixture of both. I think it's a mixture of them being powerful men, and sometimes powerful men, they want to sexualize women and basically pass them around. but it's also because of who Angela is and the role that she played in this contingency, or the full role that she plays, which we probably don't yet know. It's just an opportunity for them to kind of mess with her and toy with her, manipulate her and confuse her and get her off of her rocker so that she doesn't really follow what's happening behind the scenes.
Here's the big question. What's Angela's endgame? That's driving me crazy. That more than Elliot this season, what is...
Susan in the chat says that Angela's playing Price. I believe that.
I
because
want to believe it,
I
and I kind of do.
I think she is such small potatoes to Price
Yeah.
that he's either willfully being played or he's genuinely believing, no, she wants to get all this information to be a greater good, because I wouldn't be surprised if within that meeting where she wanted to run down a list where she had access to all these files, that she runs to Price one more time, and Price says, "Just give her what she wants."
It just seemed too obvious. It seemed too forced.
It seems really forced, which makes me think, because I don't think that she got where she is with blunders like that.
Yeah.
So this is what clearly looks like a blunder that she just made
Yeah.
by like playing her, showing her hand and being like, "I want access to these files."
Yeah, all I need
And
is access.
I don't think.
It just seemed too like, okay, on the nose. Like, why do you really want access to these files?
She's up to something far deeper than we
And
anticipate.
remember her conversation with her dad. With her dad saying like, "I don't even know who you've become. I don't even know if I trust you." You know what I'm saying? So I think that even he's seen a transformation in her. Maybe she started off with this intention. Maybe she has this idea, but it's starting to get muddied a bit, I think.
Yes, exactly. Sam Esmail spoke about that himself, because he wanted us to go through the journey with Elliot, see it through his eyes. We're doing it in real time. And I think he wants us to do the same with Angela. Yeah. Because harken back, just look at her, how they dressed her in the first season in a lot of whites. In the first half of this season, all black. Blacks. Yeah. And now, last night, it was white and black. So she's kind of torn. We don't know which way she's going to go.
Interesting.
She doesn't even know which way she's going to go, I think.
To end us on a bit of a mind F, Teodris Malshua in the chat just pretty much said, what if Angela's mom, while she worked at E-Corp, had an affair with Price, and that Price is Angela's biological father?
Oh, that's a straight up Maury right there, Holmes.
That is...
You are the father.
That is a straight up Maury. It's fun to think. It's fun to think about. We don't know much about Angela's mother, but we're pretty sure she wasn't. She wouldn't have really been on the level.
Yeah.
To
It seems
work
too
with,
gotcha for me.
Yeah, like it seems too gotcha. We don't know where Price came up through. If he was always an executive.
And Price's interaction with Angela, that'd be too freaking creepy. You don't.
But
would he know?
Would he know?
I think he would know.
Yeah.
He would absolutely know, and it would be on par with
would
who
have
Price
to
is.
know.
I think it's a fun thing to talk about.
That's
I
just
don't
disgusting.
think that's where the show's going.
If I want to take it a step further,
In one multiverse,
In one multiverse.
she is
She is.
Price's father.
Price's father.
Yeah. She's
Another
Price's
multiverse.
yeah, she is
In
Price's
another-
father
in
in one of the multiverses.
one of the multiverses.
For sure.
I don't know if you guys caught the Hitflix article. It came out yesterday, so if we had time for it. It was an interview with Sam Esmail, and he spoke inadvertently that this season ended up being somewhat of an homage to Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
I don't know what that means. I'm leaving
Angela
it.
Strikes
He didn't.
Back?
He didn't mean to
Okay.
do it like that. It just. People are theorizing maybe it's just in his DNA, and that's that just maybe it's sprinkled out throughout without him really knowing. But who knows?
So we're gonna talk a lot more about
Yes.
world currency in a minute, like around predictions at the end. Let's jump into Darlene F Society FBI and what I've coined the bull drop.
Yeah.
First off,
Drop the ball.
that was so cool.
I love John Boehner's performance. He was so in a great acting. Sorry.
No, I think the Bulls balls actually did better acting. It was,
So-
just came in strong. Just
Yeah,
So
you gotta make
how-
strong choices.
yeah.
Just only because
just gotta drop
only
it.
because we have a minute to nitpick it.
Yeah.
How logistically, how would you get it into the how would you do that?
I don't know if it's you would have to almost. I think you would have to like almost shoot it from above, like drop it, so with enough force that it
Or
would.
you would have to hide
all of the levels of the
it,
Capitol.
or you would
building.
have to hide it in a way that you can time when it'll fall over and actually fall through the ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but even then, like to sneak
It doesn't
into the
seem like
Capitol
it
building
doesn't seem like it's
ever?
that heavy. Period. Like because that means people were holding it in their hands.
But it's
not
like a
it
drop
doesn't.
ceiling though. Like a
How
drop
did they get
ceiling,
there?
it-
And
Yeah. And
sure.
you
20
gotta
pounds
you gotta
over-
know, you gotta have, layout of the Capitol, like that, a professional,
This isn't
a
just a
super
hack,
professional.
you know,
This is
this
not a
is-
hack,
you
and
have
they're
to
and they're
physically
not
put it
people
there.
who like get their hands dirty like
Yeah,
that.
these
So they
are
would
not-
have to hire somebody, but then I'm like, where were you guys getting the money to hire?
Maybe
somebody
this
like
is a shout out to their new game. Exfiltration, where it's, I don't know if you guys, it's the new game for Mr. Robot on on your mobile phone, where you go on a mission and it's somewhere between episodes 5 and 6 of season 1, and you're interacting in real time and it's via text. And you help them on a mission, so maybe this could be part 2 of it for like the game for
A shameless plug, yeah.
know,
It's
Alright,
not.
guys,
It's
I-
not. I'm
course.
kidding.
But I think that
Guys,
maybe
I'm just gonna play this game forever. Go on.
I didn't know. I thought you were kidding for a second.
No, it's an actual game. It came out
I
yesterday.
saw the commercial for it.
Yeah, the
and
e-court
I'm-
messaging.
I'm already.
I got an
You
email.
play by
pretty-
text.
It's something like, I haven't had a chance to play it. I downloaded it, but it's
I would
it's
love
Telltale
that
Games.
I would love that it's Telltale Games does great games.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it'll be great, but I would love for it to somehow be an incredibly engaging
We all find ourselves.
But it's just a prompt where you're just texting,
Yeah.
where you're
Yeah.
really just
No, I think it's more
typing
than
in
that.
words. I'm sure it has
It's
to
a
be
lot more than that, actually.
I just want to be. I want to be playing the game, and I want to find myself like in some weird part of the Capitol building, and just be like, "Whoa!" They incepted
Figured
me
it out.
in some sort of air duct,
And you
It's
have
so
it in your
falling
hand,
water.
and
right?
I'm like, "Whoa!" I just totally pulled
we
an
have
Elliot,
to-
spaced out.
We have to find out if F Society is foot soldiers or there's a completely different group of folks who are
Yeah.
reporting F Society. Like there has to be something that you're like, this is not something
Maybe
the
Dark
people
Army?
we know about F Society can pull off.
But it wasn't the guy she sent on the mission last week for the ball drop. It's the guy that she assigned this
Oh, it was
task.
the frat dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
She,
no,
gave,
you're right.
she gave the mission to the guy
It was
last
just the
week.
frat boy.
She wanted him to be the point man, and he was so excited. Oh,
You're the
thank
point
you so
man.
much.
This is super important. You're right.
Yeah, she's
But it's
like,
just one
don't be a
person.
pussy and do your thing.
Well, no,
I'm
it
sh-
looks like he was the point man for like all those foot soldiers we saw.
But how did you get it in there? There's security up the wazoo.
Wait, one
I'm
of them,
sure. You know what? I'm sure they're going to create something. We'll
if one
find
of-
that out.
Like if one of
Yeah.
them's an aide or one of them's a janitor.
yeah.
Works there, yeah.
Like,
It would
it's
have to be
not-
somebody inside.
Maybe it's not that
But
hard. I don't know.
yeah,
I've
it's,
never
maybe we're
tracked.
focusing too much on it. Yeah, they dropped it. They made their statement basically like F Society's still here. We're still going strong. I mean, I don't know if that's what they made the connection, but that was the statement they were.
No,
trying
I think
to
that's
make.
absolutely the statement.
But here's
Yeah.
the thing. I think they sabotage themselves. Because, okay, F Society is modeled after, let's say, Anonymous. And with Anonymous, there's a little bit of mischief involved. This is just like a little FU to just everything going on. But on the grander scale, there was a vote for the bailout. And it was about to be,
Yes.
and it was going to be turned down. It was going to
Yeah.
be denied.
Yeah.
But they suspended the vote because of the ball drop.
Yeah.
So does that give Price and them a moment
does.
to
Yeah.
replan,
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Which
to regroup?
plays into the greater point that Price is somehow
Someone
playing,
connected to the Dark Army.
or well, we kind of know that he.
We kind of know that.
We
it's
kinda
like-
know- I'm saying that-
Inadvertently, yeah, we know.
Price has the ability. Price has the ability, and like F Society's playing into his hand.
Yeah.
However, what was?
Sorry, I had a
Yeah,
smile.
there's some fun happening in the
Oh,
show.
okay.
It's from,
A lot of balls.
It's from
lot of
no,
balls,
I was
too.
surprised Congress was actually doing work.
Oh, good
Oh.
one.
Political.
Hey.
Nice, thank you.
Hey.
Yes. No, I think they're all about from Anonymous to F Society to any like it's all about symbolism. It's about these big symbols, like when they had when they burned the money.
Yeah.
And
that was a big symbol.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It was.
was a
When
really
the
big
masks being a symbol when they took the balls from the bull in the first place. Like all of this, so it's like careful planted but intentional symbols because you want to paint this executive in a bad light. You want to suspend Congress from being able to cast this vote, but you want to do it in a way that stirs up the emotions of the
Public
movement,
sentiment,
you know what I
destroy
mean?
their confidence. We lose
Yeah.
confidence in E-Corp and whatnot.
And now we're losing confidence in the government. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Because
the government failure seems imminent
yeah,
in this universe.
yeah. But in one universe, the government is Angela's father.
Yes, the whole
The
government.
whole government.
One universe.
Oh,
In
God.
another
I
universe.
love the multiverse theory.
In another universe, it's just the whole Senate.
Yeah,
It's just-
right.
And
right,
in
right.
another universe, she is the Supreme Court.
I want to live in that universe.
It is 9 Angela.
I
clones.
choose
It
that
is-
universe.
So we're just gonna.
Can
do
we
Rick
talk
and
about?
Morty.
Can we talk about Elliot? Can we talk about the?
Yes.
Can we get to
We're
the?
here now. We have
the
the time.
reveal?
We're doing this. For those of you who don't know, how could you not? You're watching this show.
If you don't
Elliot
know, go watch
revealed
the
that
show
he's
first.
been in prison this
The whole
entire time.
Which, yes.
You nailed that one, man.
I didn't necessarily.
Well, kinda.
I thought it was more an institution because of the
yeah.
door.
I'm
Sure,
the one
but-
at the table who was like, no, they're showing us everything as it exists. He's actually in Washington Township at his parents' house somehow.
Yeah.
And he's
Sorry,
self-imprisoned himself.
Yeah.
Were we happy with the reveal?
Yes.
I was.
Yeah.
I was. Because I think it was something, well, it was on a lot of people's minds that either he was in an institution or a prison. And I think we were all trying to figure out if that reveal would happen, when would it happen, and sort of how would it play into, you know, him actually getting out and why he was there, and then also figuring out where Tyrell is, because I think it's all still very much connected. So it answered a lot of questions I think a lot of people had, and it kind of leads us to different theories about where the fate of certain characters are and then what's going to happen now. So I personally like the reveal, and I thought, even though people were saying it and it was kind of becoming like, oh no, that'd be a cliche plot line, it was still satisfying the way that it happened. Like it didn't planned like a cliche. It landed a lot better than it could have.
No, it definitely hit right.
Yeah.
It
I
definitely
actually
hit
think-
right. It definitely felt right. It was definitely in the style of the show that, like, last week I was dead set. Like, no, all of these things are totally happening. And then I even conceded at some point.
Yeah.
If it doesn't go that way, they're probably going to convince me in under 60 minutes
Yeah.
that I've been
Definitely.
wrong and that they've revealed it proproperly.
And
And
it
that's,
actually took like 3 minutes, right?
like, pretty much it took like 3 minutes to be like, nope, all right, no,
Yep.
you're right.
Yeah.
How do we trust them moving forward?
Well, Elliot says that you can trust him.
He's
now.
not gonna lie to us
So He's
anymore.
not gonna lie to us. We
He's
can
the
trust each
reliable
other.
narrator now.
Just like Mr. Robot said he wouldn't lie to Elliot, and Elliot told us.
I know, but I was being sarcastic. There's no
Right.
way to
Of
trust
course,
anything
of
ever.
course.
No. I think he's on the level this time.
Yeah?
I'm feeling it.
Oh, you
yeah.
feel it?
Oh man,
Feel it
this
there?
is
What I want to know is, because we saw the reveal of like the cafeteria and the basketball court and all this stuff.
and that the mom was one of the guards.
Yeah, which was lovely. Where was Elliot when he was with Ray, when the FBI came
That's-
in on the street there?
That's what I needed to know too.
Where is that house? Like, what part of the institution is that?
Some of the theories was that he was in solitary confinement during that time where Ray had beat him up, and
In
then
the
he was in
basement?
that basement. That he was put in solitary confinement by Ray. So maybe he was in Max. Maybe he was in another part of the prison that was separated from, you know, everybody else, general population. So I think that. I'm thinking that maybe Ray was a warden, or he was some sort of authority figure, or he actually
That makes
was an
more
employer.
and more sense.
Yeah.
But
He
I
would
would
have
also,
way
gotta
more
be,
access.
right?
but I would
Yeah.
also
It's
say
gotta
that
be.
the times that he was alone would have been solitary, or just you leave a prisoner in a basement. But I think the literal him walking down the stairs while FBI agents storm a room.
But the way that they
I
stormed
think,
it,
but they could have stormed a room inside a prison
Sure.
yeah.
where they wouldn't have.
And they would have if Ray was a warden. That
yeah,
you
where
know.
they wouldn't have messed with a fellow prisoner
Yeah.
who was exiting the room.
Well, that was why.
Well,
I mean,
maybe they would have.
But the way that they handled him, even though they basically said like just stay right here.
Yeah, they handled
so
him like
they
somebody who
handled it
belonged
like
there,
yeah.
but like somebody who would take an order,
yeah.
Yeah.
leading me to believe that
That is
he
true.
left the warden and/or counselor's office.
Yeah.
And the FBI stormed it, and they were like, "Prisoner, stay here."
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. That makes sense. I want to think
It's
that that's
gotta
it, but
be-
I was still just like, I really wanted to see in that little montage.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to see Ray's office. I didn't get
But
to.
the
so I was
ground.
like, what
well, but I
was it?
think Ray's office was Ray's office.
It was his office.
complete
Yeah,
with an
sure.
American flag.
I just went
and
like
a
the
dog.
house and the streets, and I'm sure it was just. I think that's what it's got to be, right? Like I think
Yeah.
we're all.
I
it
mean,
has to
he
be that
imagined the
was a warden.
street, you know.
I'm sure we'll find out next episode.
Of course.
anyways.
It kind of explains the Red Wagon book too, of how creepy and weird. Like, because if you put that in a neighborhood, like, why is that lady just hanging out? She
Yeah.
could hang out anywhere in the whole neighborhood.
Which I think you had said that was.
Hot Carla is played by a transgendered model named Eve Lindley.
Yes.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's very
that
helpful
makes
too,
sense.
because it's
A male prison.
It's a male prison, so a transgender. Yeah, great. I want to say we've seen Ray's office. That's what Ray's office looks like. We've seen Ray's dog. We've seen the guards. The guards are in on Midland City. And what grounds us in this reality that he absolutely remigrated a terrible website and then ultimately took down its owner is that he went on an IRC and he talked to Darlene.
Yeah.
That would be the grounding part for me.
If that's what the F Society people were reacting to.
Well, 2 weeks ago, he went on an IRC to specifically talk to Darlene. It was an IRC that they had been a channel they leave open for themselves.
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying
So
is
that
when
when
we
they-
have that moment where they're like, where they're like, oh, when is this happening? You know, like the Darlene and the rest of the F Society people. Do you think they were responding to Elliot?
I think so.
Or is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he connected with them.
Cool.
I mean, overall, I think they underestimated Elliot's ability. Because I think that the other guy who was helping him with the hack, I think we know now, was another prisoner or another inmate. So
Which would make a lot more sense.
yeah, which was why, you know.
I have trouble with that one slightly because there was that scene a few 4 or 5 episodes ago with it's RT and his whole family's in that shot as well in that scene. With it, don't you remember that his wife and his kids are in that shot? It's the first time he's being threatened. RT is.
Maybe he's out. Maybe he's out and they keep bringing him back.
That's why there's a few little loose
There's
ends
some loose
from
ends
it.
there.
of course there's some
But
loose
I
ends,
think
but-
we can all agree that Midland City was an actual website.
Oh yeah, it was.
And that it was that Elliot was
Silk
able to
Road.
access a terminal in prison.
a prison. Yeah.
Okay.
Which
Because I've read a few comments that are like, nope, it's actually a cigarette ring. Or like it's actually just a prison ring, and I don't think it goes that lateral.
But I think it would make sense because it's like hiding in plain sight, you know? Like people, the last place that you would kind of look for criminal behavior would be from people who are in charge of a prison, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of genius that they would actually set it up on those servers or would try and set it up at the prison servers because who's really going to be looking? You know what I mean?
That is interesting.
They're not looking there for those particular reasons.
Susan, the super fan, I think has it spot on as well. I think she read that article saying that actually, and I was going to say for predictions actually, that we will find out in the next few episodes
That seems likely.
Well, find out
about Ray, and there's
And whether
more. There's a
that was
little
real.
more to
There's
Ray.
more.
That
I'm
Yeah,
sure
for
there's
sure.
more to Ray because
So-
that didn't quite put a bow on it for me.
This explains why Krista was giving such terrible therapy.
Sure. You know, it also explains why Elliot got his Adderall from Leon. Or
Yes.
why Elliot, yeah.
Yeah, explains a lot. It's actually worth a bit of a brush up of a rewatch of season 2.
Yeah, I kind of want to go back
Yes.
now that I know for sure. I kind of
So
want
I think
check it all
maybe
out again.
season 3 they're gonna make a really obvious turn that they won't make because these first 2 seasons they've had what now seems like an incredibly obvious turn. This one was a little more hidden, maybe just because I didn't catch it. Are we? Yeah.
I wanted to ask one question. When we realize he's in prison and we see all the imagery now come back of the real world he's in, he bumped into a prisoner, and next to the prisoner said "not an exit," and I know that means something, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if you guys caught that. It's a door, and it says "not an exit" in big bold letters.
In the prison.
In the prison, as he's walking out, they're playing the music, and it's when he says "let's shake on it." Right before he goes to his cell, he bumps into a prisoner, and it says "not an exit." Right, it's in huge letters,
Yeah.
and you know that's always a clue for something. So for the chat room, if you guys can answer that, hive mentality, let's all figure it out. I think
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
Well, I mean, of course.
Is that like a
there's gonna be
standard
an
thing?
exit.
Is that a standard thing in
No,
prisons?
I don't think-
to say not an exit.
I love that you
I've
asked
seen.
Steve that.
By the way, just-
He's
Tell
been to
us,
his
share your
fair
wisdom.
share of
I feel like I've
prisons, so.
seen doors that say not an exit.
Yeah, but
Not
it's
in
there for a
prison,
reason.
Yeah,
But
of course.
But in a
In the
prison
show,
where
it's-
nothing's an exit,
Yeah.
it would be interesting.
And you wouldn't have this is an exit, for a bunch of inmates too. So
exit.
Well, it
yeah.
could just mean exit to the yard, to the
Sure.
outside
No, I
while
get
you're
it.
still contained.
On a
Right.
normal prison, yes,
Yeah.
but in a
This-
Sam Esmail
in
prison
yeah,
world,
of course.
there's a
It
reason
makes
why
sense,
those
yeah.
words are there.
Yeah, I want to think that it's symbolic for the prison, not necessarily that there's something physical behind the door. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Are we ready to
Yeah,
jump
that's
into
my
To
prediction.
We're
predictions.
ready
Yes.
to dive on into these?
Let's do it.
Someone just said, could it just be a door? So
Sometimes it's just a door.
the
that
show
says,
brings out
exit.
the best and worst in us.
Thanks,
Sorry,
PC.
guys. Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I have any. I think I'm just gonna throw it to everyone.
Man, I'm having a
Tyrell
hard
is not
time.
dead. I don't think he's dead.
That's what
Yeah.
I was gonna do. I was gonna ask what we think
I
about
think Elliot being in prison was orchestrated between White Rose / Dark Army. I think that Tyrell is in Dark Army's custody. I think he's been captured by them, but I think he's still alive. Because Mr. Robot, okay, first of all, I don't think that, of course, he wasn't shot in the arcade, because the FBI scrubbed that place from head to toe immensely once they figured out what F Society was. So I think that they would have found traces of some type of blood or something, and they would have run it, and they would have realized it was Tyrell. Never made any mention of that. That could be an oversight on my part, but I don't think that he was shot. I think that Mr. Robot just said that to him, and he gave that information up so quick. You know, he had been fighting him on it, so he was like, all right, I'll just tell you. It just seemed too easy. So I don't think he's dead. I don't think that Mr. Robot really... I think he knows what happened to him, but I think he's keeping it under wraps because there's something else going there with White Rose. Some type of agreement that Mr. Robot made with White Rose or the Dark Army that he doesn't want Elliot to know about. And so I think that we'll figure that out eventually. And I think that the FBI diversion, rather, was to kind of keep them away from what's going on with the hack, with Tyrell, and Dark Army.
I like
That's
it.
going to be my... and I'm out of here, people. All right.
I think Price wants the U.S. He wants all world economies to fail.
Yeah.
So he can step up with eCoin as the one world currency.
Yeah. That's good.
I think the Dark Army, for whatever reason, wants to back him on this, and that they are a part of, hence your shirt, the New World Order, or the ruling class, or, dare I say, the bourgeoisie. I think that's actually happening. In a show that's primarily focused on the duality of like a couple different people and hacking, there's also like a very deep subversive anti-capitalism sentiment, which is funny because this show is so commercial.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, the show is literally in a bunch of commercials. You just talked about an app. You can buy that mask for $12.99. I love that to talk about duality.
Yeah.
I love that this show can have a duality of being both corporate and anti-corporate at the exact same time, and I love it.
So smart.
I'm going to piggyback off what you said about Tyrell being alive, because first off, Mr. Robot said, I shot him.
He never said he killed him.
They never said he killed him. So I'm leaning towards, and I did an unofficial poll on my Twitter, and most people said he's alive.
All right, well, then that's all you need. That's all the evidence you need.
But now, in keeping with what Sam Esma was saying about this being Empire, if that's true, season 1, it was the victory. We brought down E-Corp, we did the hack, the darkness. So we're still waiting for a bigger shoe to drop at the end. And piggybacking with what you said, I think that's going to be the big dark moment at the end of I'm going with the final prediction of this season.
Okay.
I think it's just the new currency will come in. Things will only get darker.
Yeah.
Only darker. And it's going to be such an incredible end that we're all going to be saying, there's no way he's going to get out of this. And it's going to be so dark, just like Empire ended. Just darkness. And we won't know in season 3.
Not all of us have seen Empire.
Okay, well, it ends in darkness.
Throwing
So
that into the universe.
just know that it's
You can't watch every show.
Yeah, so many shows.
And
man.
no, Empire Strikes Back, Holmes.
no, yeah.
I take it all back.
I think you were talking about the Fox show
Empire, yeah.
Maybe Sam Esmail's really into Empire.
Like, cool. We're gonna model Mr. Robot after Empire.
Shout out to Cookie. Yeah. Oh, that's why Cookie Lion was on that show. Shout out to Fox.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Cookie,
Lucius
Cookie is in
Cookie.
the prison.
Yeah. Cookie was in the prison. Oh, she was in the prison with
Taylor,
okay,
save
got it.
us.
That makes
Taylor,
sense.
someone listening to my voice right now felt the exact same way
I
I
love
did.
it. That
I
was
did,
so
dude.
funny.
I did.
No, but I mentioned in the article you modeled it after Empire Strikes Back.
No. What you said makes perfect sense.
And now Elliot's gonna start a music career, and it makes sense. Okay, got it.
Or does he own a tiger?
I would like to keep the piggyback train alive. I think that not only is Tyrell alive, that him, Joanna, and Mr. Robot are in cahoots against Elliot, and Elliot's on the outside. That's why Elliot's. That's why he was told Elliot something that seems so simple. You know what I mean? I think that what's going to happen as we see the show go on is because Elliot, we saw him just a couple episodes ago really start to trust Mr. Robot, right? And now I really he gave it away too easy. Like, I think that he is lying to Elliot. I think we're going to see Mr. Robot get the upper hand and become the predominant personality. Because the show is called Mr. Robot. It's not called Elliot.
So,
you know, I think that we're
would
going to
be-
see that happen. I think this was a big turning
so
point.
that Mr. Robot will take over Elliot.
Yeah.
Completely. Do we think season 3 will be a struggle for Elliot to come back?
I think that he'll struggle, yeah. I mean, who knows what'll happen.
Elliot's
that
mentioned
would be-
it. He said, "You've won." He said that in the last 2 weeks. He's said that you've won. And he said, "No, I haven't." You know, so
At some point in the next 3 weeks, he's going to actually win.
Yeah. But I think he still needs Elliot, so he has to be there in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
he can't
Elliot's
go
the-
full Mr. Robot because I think there are still aspects of Elliot. I mean, they're both useful to each other. You know what I mean? So
I'm wondering what it's going to do for us as an audience because we, Elliot is our narrator. Like
Yeah.
he is
He
who we're
speaks to
connected
us,
to,
yeah.
and like we have a direct line of communication with him, but we don't have that with Mr. Robot. We
Yeah.
don't like Mr. Robot does not speak to us.
Yeah.
So that we think
know?
either one of two things will happen. Mr. Robot will start getting that relationship with us, or the narrative will shift to not have a voiceover.
I
And
think
we go from being narrated to just becoming observers of it. That feels more like this show.
yeah.
that feels more like this show, and I also
And that
think
we
that
won't hear from Elliot for like 3 weeks, and then it'll be like, I came back.
yeah.
I got it.
Well, and we might even have a narrator in Elliot. Just now, he's not in control anymore,
Yeah,
and
that's
he's just
true.
kind of like with us watching
Yeah.
what happens. You
Why
know
is he
what I mean?
doing that? He shouldn't. He really shouldn't do that.
Stop hitting
That's-
myself. Stop hitting myself.
Stop hitting myself. Stop hitting myself.
Too good.
I think we just about wrap this up. in a
Yeah,
nice
I think
little-
so.
Nice little bow. In the meantime, if people want to tell you guys how great your predictions were, how great we are on this show, all your Mr. Robot theories, starting to my far
feed our
left, JC
egos.
Rubio, where can the people find you?
once again, thank you guys. Keep sharing. Keep the dialogue going. Go to Ace. I can't even talk right now. I'm so mind meld.
AC Rubio.
Yeah,
AC
Slater.
Rubio.
JC Rubio TV on Instagram, Twitter, and Periscope.
That's his empire name, everybody. For those of you who know his empire rap
Lucius.
name. Yeah, right. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Ashley_Chatman. Check you guys later.
I have been and continue to be Taylor Boldt. You can find me on Twitter at
For
Taybolt.
now.
That's BOLDT, or on Instagram at Tbolt.
In this universe.
I am Steve
In this
Kaufmann
universe.
in this universe. You can find me on Twitter in this universe at Steve Kaufmann. That is KAUFMANN. Speaking of Star Wars, special shout out to Loot Crate who gave me this shirt from their special Star Wars Loot Crate,
Nice.
which would have made it real weird if I hadn't seen Empire
Empire.
Strikes Back. Also on Earth 379, I'm at Jess Klein 1. Some people who watch AfterBuzz will know that reference. Thank you guys, and
We'll see
good
you
night.
next week.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
AfterBuzz TV. Hi, I was once like
Views
you.
expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.